While I'm usually not giving into hyperbole, in this video we are going to take a look at how the Deathwatch destroyed the London GT Supermajor event with close to 600 participants that took place last weekend. Over the course of the video we will look at the Deathwatch army lists that were being played and whether it's all Dreadnoughts or not. Furthermore, we will also compare these results to several recent tournaments where Deathwatch made a strong appearance, including the FactoruM GT, the Carnage GT and the Normal Blokes GT 2021. Then for the final part, I will offer my personal conclusions and a quick wrap up.
Welcome to SwissHammer, your channel for modeling in Warhammer 40k. My name is Tammer and I will be guiding you through this video.
While the early 9th edition Deathwatch supplement release has long been treated as a bit of an enigma, the Dreadnought heavy lists pioneered by Harpster and Lennon continue to show promising tournament results over these past few months. While it seems like the supplement code has finally been cracked and Deathwatch does perform well overall, they never quite seem to get up there compared to more prominent meta beasts like Admech or Drukhari. However, in a recent Metawatch article preluding the first of the US Open 2021 tournament series, two tournament experts have nonetheless rated Deathwatch as one of the top tier armies, and yet Deathwatch once more failed to score any of the top ranks at such a major event. I have covered these tournament results and the mentioned article in previous videos, the links are in the description. With this little introduction out of the way, let's have a look at the latest September tournament results, starting with the big London GT Supermajor event with close to 600 players that took place the weekend of 25th to 26th of September. In this Supermajor, players did an initial 5 rounds, before the top 4 players then faced off in 2 knockout rounds. Out of the 598 players, 134 played Space Marines, which is roughly 22%, a bit below average of what we have seen at previous tournaments of larger scale. As far as top 10 goes, we have once more Admech as the winner, but then Deathwatch as the second, yes, you've heard correctly, and the Death Guard as third. The rest then goes as following: Sisters, Admech, Drukhari, Admech, Eldari and Death Guard. The usual top performing armies and Deathwatch aside, seeing such a strong Death Guard appearance is certainly surprising. Overall, Space Marines' performance remains unimpressive, with only 10% making it into the top 100 and just about 42% making it into the top 300. This is pretty much on par with the dwindling Space Marines win rates we have seen over these recent weeks. What further stands out is that Deathwatch makes a strong appearance with a quota of 9% of all Space Marines at this tournament. But not only with numbers, but also with results. While only 8 Space Marines armies made it into the top 50, 3 of these were Deathwatch, which is an absolutely amazing result. Next to the 3 mentioned Deathwatch, also 2 White Scars, 2 Iron Hands and 1 Dark Angels made it into the top 50, resulting in Deathwatch being once more the top Marines of a tournament. Looking at the 12 Deathwatch players present at the tournament, they scored as following in the initial 5 rounds. On rank 2 we have the controversial Alex Harrison. I am aware of his reputation and I assume nothing other than fair play having taken place. Moving on, rank 39, Michael Costello, rank 41, Nick Council, rank 72, John Partridge, rank 167, Edward Muir, rank 392, Jack Fraser, rank 441, Brian Bueller, rank 451, James Maynard, rank 505, Greg Megan, rank 508, David Taylor, rank 519, Will Dockerell, rank 524, Chris Kinner, which played a soup list containing both Deathwatch and Grey Knights. Given that he had over half the points in Deathwatch, I counted it as such for completion's sake. Before moving on, my apologies for the butchering of any of the names. What I think stands out here is that next to the obvious rank 2 placement, we have 3 more of what I consider very decent placements in such a big tournament, followed by somewhat of a middle one with 3-2, and then basically followed by the remaining 7 ones all being on the lower end. This distinctive split in ranking is interesting, and you guys can most likely guess where I'm going at. Is it the Dreadnoughts that are making the difference here? In short, the answer is mostly yes, but not entirely. Looking at Alex Harrison's rank 2 list, while certainly in line with the core idea of Dreadnought heavy lists, 3 Redemptors, 3 Relic Contemptors, the Dominus Sieges, he made quite a few adjustments, such as doubling on the Tech Marines, sticking to Deathwatch veterans with frag cannons, adding a Sicarian Arcus and a drop pod, and as one of my personal favorites, including company veterans. Yes, this is still Dreadnought spam, but I think with great alternatives to consider for anyone interested in playing this style of lists. With 4 times the Martial Legacy tax to pay, there won't be an awful lot of CP left to play around with though. The list is linked in the description. Moving on to Michael Costello on rank 39, this list deserves special mentioning, not only for the great result at the London GT, but he also won the FactoruM GT we did on the previous weekend, September 18th. Way to go! However, this is not all of it just yet. The list is particularly interesting because there is only one Dreadnought, and it's not even a Redemptor or Relic Contemptor. But starting with the HQs, he has a captain with Combi Melta, Mastercrafted Lightning Claw and Chumpack carrying Tomb, then a Librarian with the Xenopurge Discipline and its 2 most popular powers. He also has the paragon of their chapter Ultramarines Warlord trait. Then finally, a Primaris Chaplain on bike carrying the Beacon and Chalice. For troops, we have a single Incursor squad as well as 3 Proteus kill teams making good use of mixed units, such as including a Black Shield, Terminators, Veteran Bikers and the ever reliable Vets with Deathwatch bolt guns and Storm Shields. For elites, we have a single Ironclad Dreadnought. We then also have a separate Plasma Inceptor squad as well as a Hellblaster squad with Assault loadout. What's interesting about these particular choices is that while both of these units are still popular for Deathwatch, they are more commonly taken as part of kill teams where they can benefit from ablative wounds and or access to specialisms. On the Hellblasters in particular, I always felt that they particularly benefit from the kill teams, but of course that brings with it its own tax of regular intercessors. For more information on including Inceptors or Hellblasters into the Deathwatch, feel free to check out my guides linked in the description. Then as a final pick, we have a Whirlwind, a choice that has become more popular again with the June FAQ changes to fight first and fight last. Overall, this is a refreshing list that stands out among the Dreadnought spam. Between the lists played at the London and the FactoruM GTs, there are slight war gear variations, mainly the Combi Melta on the Captain, as well as some changes to the Proteus kill team. Both lists are linked in the description. Following closely on Michael's heel, we have Nick Council on rank 41. Previously, he made a decent appearance with Deathwatch at the SwissHammer GT4, where he scored rank 10 out of 54. Since then, he made quite some adjustments to his list, but at its core it does remain a primary Dreadnought heavy list. 2 Redemptors, 3 Relic Contemptors, multiple Proteus kill teams with Vanvets and bikes as we know them well. What stands out is the addition of the Librarian, the company veterans and a single land speeder, but aside from the latter, these are all classic competitive Deathwatch picks that we have known to work well, and they certainly did once more. Then finally, on rank 72, we have John Patridge also staying true to the Dreadnought heavy list by sticking to 2 Redemptors, 2 Relic Contemptors and 3 Proteus kill teams in the style that we know them from such lists, but then basically using the remaining points to invest into Eliminator and Suppressor squads instead. Both have been showing up at tournaments regularly as of late, and what I think really works in their favor is that they are comparably cheap for what they can do. Eliminators at now 75 points are the cheapest unit with concealed positions and remarkably durable for their points, and then the suppressors at 100 points come with built-in deep strike, decent mobility, and even a decent gun for the current meta. I think the inclusion of either of these units is a great addition to any Deathwatch list these days. Then as we move further down in rankings, the Deathwatch lists also deviate further from the popular Dreadnoughts and Proteus kill teams. I have linked all of them in the description. As a quick summary, I think apart from the very bottom two, where basically one is Grey Knight Soup and the other one a highly unconventional one rocking Centurion Devastator and the Firestrike turret, I think all of them combine mostly competitive Space Marine picks and decently looking kill teams on paper. However, maybe they just don't create the same level of synergy, and perhaps more importantly, looking at the names of the participants, I also think that the top placed players are the more seasoned tournament veterans. One certainly has an impact on the other, and ultimately, I think that in the current Deathwatch meta, lists like the one piloted by Michael Costello, placed rank 39, are the ones to look out for past what we already know. The London GT aside, I was also on the lookout for other tournaments and how the Deathwatch was doing there. The previously mentioned FactoruM GT, won by Michael Costello's Deathwatch aside, there are two more that caught my attention. One is the Carnage GT, where Jeff Beery scored rank 5 with the Dreadnought and Proteus kill team heavy list as we know it. The other one is the Normal Blokes GT 2021, where Dinatlia Gamma scored a decent rank 8 out of 47. As regular viewers of this channel might remember, we have seen him do well with Deathwatch in previous tournaments before. This time, with the core of his list staying true to what we know from similar Dreadnought heavy meta lists, he runs 3 Redemptors and multiple Proteus kill teams, but then went for Assault Centurions deployed through the Teleportarium stratagem, as well as a Spectre's kill team with 5 Eliminators on top. Either of these additions have made their appearances in competitive lists before, and I think that they are certainly worth consideration. The link to the list is in the description. All in all, while the core concept of Deathwatch meta lists remains intact, Redemptors, Relic Contemptors, the Dominus Sieges, and flexible Proteus kill teams, we are seeing various utility picks return. Company veterans with their infamous bodyguard ability, Eliminator Squad, Suppressor Squad. All of these are relatively cheap yet durable units that can be used for actions, sent to table corners, and or harass the opponent. Furthermore, thanks to the Tune FAQ, we are seeing a return of both the Whirlwind as well as the Sicarian Arcus. Beyond the Dreadnoughts, lists such as the one played by Michael Costello keep reinforcing the point that Deathwatch can do more than just spamming the walk-in coffins. Our librarian powers remain among the strongest of the Space Marine chapters, our Proteus kill teams offer immense flexibility. It's not just cheap shotguns or infantry bikes, but also Terminators or Black Shields with a bunch of Thunderhammers mixed in that can get some work done. But perhaps the biggest surprise of this particular list is the inclusion of the Plasma Inceptors and the Assault Hellblasters as regular squads. With the previously mentioned Eliminators and Suppressors in mind, there are still various strong general Space Marine units outside of the kill teams to be taken into consideration. If anything, the London GT has been further confirmation that Deathwatch can indeed compete at the very top. To wrap things up, while it may have taken Deathwatch a while to take off in 9th edition with their new supplement, they have now completely dominated the big London GT Super Major event with close to 600 players. Not only did a Deathwatch list piloted by Alex Harrison manage to score rank 2, out of the 8 Space Marine armies making it into the top 50, 3 of them were indeed Deathwatch, making them the top Marines of this tournament, while the large majority of successful Deathwatch Deathwatch lists remained true to Dreadnoughts, supported by the Dominus Aegis Relic and Proteus kill teams, we can also see a reappearance of company veterans, eliminators, suppressors and whirlwinds, and some Forge World counterparts. What stands out to me in particular is also the list by Michael Costello, who won the FactoruM GT and achieved a respectable rank 39 at the London GT. What I particularly like is that among this current Dreadnought meta, he is only running a single Ironclad, instead focusing on a variety of beefed up Proteus kill teams, as well as separate squad of Plasma Inceptors and Hellblasters, resulting in this list being completely in spite of what is currently being considered as the Deathwatch meta. Link to all the Deathwatch lists played at the London GT is in the description. All in all, my key takeaways are that the competitive Deathwatch scene remains unchanged on a larger scale, with Dreadnoughts and Proteus kill teams still dominating. Nonetheless, I think there is room for a variety of units that go beyond Dreadnoughts and the kill teams. Overall, Deathwatch is adapting very well to the changes in the meta based on the new codex releases, another example of just how flexible our supplement truly is. If anything, the London GT has been further confirmation that Deathwatch can indeed compete at the very top. So that's it for the Deathwatch destroying the London GT 2021 and the current state of the Deathwatch in 9th edition. What do you guys think about these particular lists and results? Any changes you will be doing to your own lists based on these latest tournaments? Let me know in the comments. Finally, I would also like to mention that there is a SwissHammer Facebook page where I will be posting links to my videos as well as articles I find of interest. I do read a lot about the hobby, but not all of it will always end up as its own video. I look forward to seeing you there as well. I do also have a Patreon page. If you like my content, any additional support is greatly appreciated as it helps me invest into future videos. As always, thank you very much for watching, guys. Your continued support is greatly appreciated. I hope you have been enjoying this video. Give me a thumbs up if you did, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thanks again and see you next time.